What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Spot Show Podcast, an independent wrestling podcast with a few pit stops along the way. I, of course, am your host, Jim Minton Dickie Wabash, and we have got a very, very special guest with us here today. Someone that I have been wanting to get on the Spot Show Podcast for months, years at this point, years, if we're being honest, because we're nearing 3 years of this damn thing. And I have wanted this man on here since the very beginning because he is one of my favorite human beings. And the topic that we are going to be discussing today, he is custom built for this topic. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for Kid Riot. Has finally made his way onto the Spot Show Podcast. Kid Riot, thank you so much for joining me.
Yeah, I feel like I know you've mentioned it before you wanted me to, but I feel like we've been actively talking about it for about a year, if not a little bit longer than a year.
Well, technically, you have appeared on MadBash content already because you've been on 2 episodes of Big Stupid Popcorn that
Right.
people can hear over on the Patreon. But yeah, man, to get you on Spot Show proper has been something that we've really been talking about. And we're just now coming back from this hiatus. We're kind of changing the vibe of what Spot Show is. So, yeah, I figured what better way to show this new version of Spot Show than to finally have you on.
Hell yeah, I'm for it. I'm excited for it. Definitely. Thank you for having me.
Very excited. Now, I can't tease it really because people see the description of the podcast so they know what we're going to be talking about. But before we get into the topic, I just want to remind you that this is, of course, the Spot Show Podcast. Each and every week, me and some of my friends get together and we talk about the wacky world of independent wrestling and everything in between. If you like what we're doing over here at MadBash Studios, you can, of course, support us by going over to patreon.com/MadBash Studios. Help keep the microphones on and the envelopes full. But there are other ways that you can support us. Listen, MadBash Studios is the definition of independent. We got no big money coming in here. We need every bit of support that we can get. So you can go to madbashstudios.com. There you're going to find all of our social media, your favorite podcasting platforms. Go there, leave us some comments, leave us some likes, leave us some subscriptions, all of that. We would very, very much appreciate it. Upcoming dates and plugskis. No upcoming dates for me specifically. I have no dates for the rest of the year. I am officially done. Kid Riot, this is going to be airing December 4th. So
Okay.
do you have any dates coming up that you want to plug real quick?
I do. Let's see. December 6th will be in Williamsville, Illinois for Homegrown Wrestling. That is going to be, those are always a fun show. It's very Spot Showy itself. And then the 21st of December, I will be in Cicero for a toy drive / wrestling show that's going to have heavy lucha themes.
Very cool. You on a lucha show? Come on.
I know, right?
Who would have thought? Who would have thought? Yeah, some plug skis for you guys. Of course, over on the Patreon, you can see Kid Riot when he appeared on Big Stupid Popcorn twice. Kid Riot suggested one of my favorite movies that we've done over there on Big Stupid Popcorn so far, Body Slam. Coming up in this month, we have got another really good one that I'm talking to you about maybe being back on with that one, but no spoilers just yet on what that movie is to everyone. And of course, this episode is brought to you by Venom Energy and patreon.com/MadBash Studios. But we're going to hear a little bit about them later because this is a topic that we have talked about ad nauseum. How many locker rooms have we been in where we have exchanged stories? We've talked about different experiences. We've talked about different opinions. Guys, today we are going to explore the world of Shindie Wrestling. And you're probably wondering, what is Shindie Wrestling? And that's a very good question. And before we fully get into it, I want to give a full disclaimer here. Wrestling is an art. You can interpret your art however you wish. You can partake in your art however you wish. Kid Riot and myself, we are not here to necessarily judge anybody. Take whatever booking you want, be on whatever show you want to be on, but understand that there might be some pitfalls working for some companies. And I also want to give another disclaimer that a running theme, it's not an umbrella claim, but it's kind of a running theme that you'll see with some of this stuff. There's a lot of unsavory characters that you stumble upon. We do not condone the actions of those people. A lot of this stuff that we might mention is, of course, alleged. But sometimes you can get a vibe from someone, and if you don't really vibe with them, you can just kind of tell, like, maybe we want to stay away from that. We are not doing this to bring light on any nefarious activities. Of course, we naturally poo-poo that stuff. Bad on you for if you partake in some of those activities. So with that being said, if you or anyone has had any of that stuff happen to you, please reach out, get the help that you need to try to get over that, and try to stop that stuff, mostly, is what we're getting at here. Again, we do not condone it, and we're not here to make fun of it.
Well, education is the greatest tool. So if you have experienced something like that and you can share that experience with other people, that can maybe prevent someone else from having to experience it.
And in a way, that's kind of what we're doing with this as well. I mean, sure, we're going to sit back and poke fun at some certain aspects. And I'm going to say 90% of it is going to come from a place of love. The other 10% is going to come from not necessarily, I'm not trying to expose people here or anything. I'm just trying to, bring some light to some stuff that people might not be fully aware of. So with that all being said, there's the disclaimer. Kid Riot, if you had to define what Shindie Wrestling is, I'm going to give the floor to you, because I would say that you're a little bit more of an expert on the subject than I am. What would you say are some of the defining characteristics of what makes a Shindie promotion?
So real quick, before I jump in that, Sid Vicious used to refer to himself as the Lord and Master of the world. I refer to myself as the Lord and Master of the Shindies, because I am the Sid Vicious of the Shindie world, in my
Congratulations, you have just earned your new nickname anytime you appear on MadBash content.
I'm so for it. Anywho,
Lord and Master of Shindies.
Yep. I'm sick. So for me, I thought about this a little bit today because I had a feeling you were going to ask this. If I were to describe it, that's where I would consider a Shindie as if I sit down with you or someone else who is, actively in the backstage area of wrestling shows, and I tell you a story and you end up with a confused or bewildered or just overwhelming, wait, what the hell?
Yes.
Reaction to the story, that's probably a Shindie. However, if I tell that story to someone who is not involved in wrestling and they are horrified or shocked or just appalled, that is also a good way to describe that was a Shindie.
I couldn't have said it better myself. I thought
about it today at work.
Yeah, that's pretty much why I called on you to be the one to explain it, because I think that it's one of these where you really gotta love professional, specifically independent wrestling, if you're ever on a Shindie show, because there's this is what we're going to get into now, some of the tropes of a Shindie, like it's like kind of like Jeff Foxworthy, you might be on a Shindie. So I will start off and we'll kind of volley back and forth with what we think. So if you are on a show with someone who is trying to relive the glory days, you might be on a Shindie.
Okay. If the champion is also the owner / booker and is primarily the main event despite not being the most talented guy on the card, you're probably on a shindy.
If the main event, both wrestlers are wearing t-shirts and are probably 125 pounds soaking wet each, you might be on a shindy.
Ooh. If they are 500 pounds plus rocking a t-shirt and jeans, or if their gimmick is, I'm just a badass, you might be on a shindy.
If there's more brothers in the locker room than there are fans in the crowd, you might be on a shindy.
I don't even think that counts as might be. I think you just are then. If the
Let's
backstage,
get one more.
Yeah, if the backstage area is made exclusively out of tarps or garbage bags and nothing else, and that is also the entranceway, you might be on a shindy.
Okay, so I know that I said one more, but I'm gonna round it out with this one because I love to give this man his flowers every time I can. If the company was ever featured on an episode of This Is Where Pro Wrestling Goes to Die, hosted by Tolerant Zero, may he rest in peace, you might be on a shindy.
I love that. I love that one.
So here's why we're so good to be having this conversation together, is because you and I met on a shindy. It was the first time we ever met. I've told this story a couple of times, but I'm curious to hear this story from your perspective. And I feel like many aspects of what I'm about to say here are going to lay the groundwork for this is a shindy. So the company that it was for, and I have no issue naming names on this one. It was a company called ICW, Independent Championship Wrestling. And it was run by a man named Dustin the Decapitator Jones. And here's my favorite part about Decap, we call him. The Decapitator was spelled differently. Every flyer, it was always misspelled. Always misspelled.
I don't think he knew how to spell it.
That's exactly what I'm getting at here.
Yeah,
Yes.
I don't think he ever knew how to spell his own gimmick name, ever.
So, because he was the one making the graphics.
Oh, yeah.
So, Jason V, Blake Reed, and myself go to this show just to watch. You know, we didn't want to. I think there was a thing going on. It was like National Independent Wrestling Day or something.
It was one of the first pro wrestling days.
Yep, that Colt Cabana put together, right?
Yes,
I think so. And we wanted to just go. That was the only show running in our area that was close, so we went to it. And we get there, and we get sat down, and Decap comes up to us and says, "Brothers, either you can work the show or I got to charge you for a ticket."
Because mind you, all four of us were in the crowd, not in the locker room.
Yeah, and you came separately. So were you booked on the show, or did you just come?
So I never knew if I was actually booked on Decap shows until I got there and he told me. 90% of the time I was, but he never once officially booked me. I just showed up and he was like, "Yeah, you're working so-and-so." So I think this was a case where I was like, "I'm not sure. I haven't talked to anyone yet."
Yeah.
And then I just started talking to you guys.
Yeah. So Jason V tells the story very well of where he walks in the locker room, sees you, and goes, "I'm working him." And then we go out. First match, I managed Jason V, and you were under your previous gimmick before you were Kid Riot. If you want to say it, you can say it, whatever. Yeah, we'll just it was something separate. And go out, do first match, went a solid 5-7 probably. And then we all go to the back, changed into our street clothes, and then went to the merch table and buried the rest of the show from the merch table.
And there was plenty to bury. Oh my God.
Oh, do you remember? I have told this story so many times. Do you remember Cecil Cerveza trying to do the diagonal coast to coast?
Yes. Yes, I do.
Here's what's so great about that is that Cecil. So the thing about a Shindie is that it's like, look, you can just take this booking and you can use it as like a fuck off show to go try something different. You know what I mean? Because there's very low stakes, very, very low stakes. Well, Cecil is claiming that he did that because it was like, it just didn't matter. It was ICW. So I just wanted to do it anyway. It's like, no, I don't believe him. I think that he truly in his heart, and that was probably, what was that, a 16 or an 18?
I think it was 16.
It was a 16. So he's trying to go diagonal coast to coast. And then he downplayed it as like, oh, I just did it because I just figured why not? And it's like, I know enough about him to know that he loves wrestling so much that he treats every show like it's WrestleMania.
Right.
So I know that he wasn't just using it as a, let's just try this.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. So actually, real quick, we talked about booking, how I got that booking. Can I quickly share the story of the first time I worked for Decap? Because I think you'll
There we go. Perfect segue. Because that was my first time.
Okay, so I came down in a carload, and there's like 5 of us, I think, in the carload, and 5 or 6, and we show up, and I've never met any of these people. I don't know anyone, and he's like, "You're so and so, right?" And I was like, "Yes." He's like, "All right, cool. Show me your lockup." So I locked up with him.
It's always show me your lockup. I love it.
Hang on. And he goes, "Cool. Now take a back bump." So I took a back bump. And he goes, "All right, take a front bump." So I took a front bump, and he goes, "Cool. You're taking the tag belts tonight."
Who was the tag partner?
It was Pogo. Oh, who was my partner?
Yeah.
Limbo. Now Limbo.
Now Limbo.
Yeah, under a previous gimmick. But yeah, Limbo is who it was.
Oh.
And so he'd been down there like 3 or 4 times, but this is my first time down there. And he's like, "Yeah, you're taking my tag belts tonight. You guys are taking the belts."
Why do I feel like that we are doing an injustice to talking about ICW, not having Limbo on here, not having Madrox on here, not having Travis Weir on here, because they were all mainstays of this company.
God. Yeah. At one point, I think all of them were every champion at one point. Maybe not the cruiserweight for obvious reasons on some of those guys, like Travis.
Yeah, but that's why it breaks my heart that like Tolerant Zero is not still with us, because I would love for him to be on here specifically, but just MadBash in general, but to have him on here to tell these ICW stories, because I know he was their heavyweight champion there for a while. And I know that he just, oh my God. Yeah. So the funny thing about it is I ended up there because of Blake Reed, because the Windy City Saints were running pretty hot and heavy there.
Oh yeah,
they were. And they would come in every so often. And here's what's so funny about this. I only worked probably 4 IC, and that's it. Really? And that is it. And it has left that much of an impact on me that I only worked 4 shows for this company, and it has left that much of an impact on me because of just how fantastic it was.
Did you ever have the catering?
If I did, I don't remember it. I probably feel like I would have remembered it.
You would have remembered it. Can I hit you with catering?
Oh, please.
All right, I'm going to tell you what the packages said, not what they were, okay? So there was bread, not Wonder Bread, bread, just the word bread.
Just like generic default bread.
Yes, there was bologna, same thing, no Oscar Mayer, just bologna, and government cheese.
Hell yeah.
That was catering. Yeah. If you notice, I did not say mustard, mayonnaise, ketchup. I didn't say anything.
No accoutrement to go with it. It was
dry sandwiches for everybody, baby.
Oh, I love it. And you know that government cheese is exactly what you want on your stomach when you're about to go bump for 15 people.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what it was. It was bologna and cheese sandwiches, no brand names, just product.
Yeah. So someone else that I think would be really fun to really break down ICW with is Cole Radrick, because like he's got a big history, and I've talked with Cole about ICW. He is like, this company that he's associated with is now running shows in the building that ICW used to run in, and they're good shows. So it's really funny to me to see the juxtaposition of these ICW shows mixed with now this Midwest territory is running shows, and they're really like the Smitty was there and stuff like that. Sorry.
You made me forget what I was going to say.
It's fine. It's fine. So, who is your favorite member of the ICW roster, and why is it Rock and Roll Rebel?
It wasn't Rock and Roll Rebel. He's a good one, but
great one.
By far, my favorite member was Brutal Ben Baker.
Oh, Brutal Ben Baker, my lord. Were you there the night that he faked the back injury?
No, I was there the night that he had to fight for his spot on the card, though.
Which one do we? I mean, I don't like. This isn't even me not being able to host, like being a bad host. I just don't know what direction we go, because we have opened a Pandora's box right now. There's like 3 directions in front of me. I tell my Rock and Roll Rebel story. I tell the Ben Baker faking a back injury story, or you tell the Ben Baker fighting for his spot on the card story. And I feel like no matter which direction we go is gold.
Well, let's start with the Brutal Ben story. So hit me with yours, and I'll hit you with mine, and then you can slide the Rock and Rebel in the back.
Okay, so I got confirmation of what exactly was going on with this recently from someone who will not be named. You know who I'm talking about.
Gotcha.
Because you were standing there when I asked him, I think. So ICW would always do this thing called Cage Fest, right? And it was an all steel cage show. And did they use Don Basher's ring or a cage? Or whose cage did they use?
Brother, you're at that question. Okay. I would never know.
But anyway, they ended up using the cage. And the main event that night, I know 2 of the people. I think I remember the third. It was Brutal Ben Baker versus Survivor, who, no shit, his gear was black pants, and he got a beefy tee, a Hanes beefy tee, and just in Sharpie wrote Survivor. That's it. That's merch, brother.
Yeah,
so, first bump of the match. Oh, by the way, Decap was the special guest referee.
Of course he was.
First bump of the match. Brutal Ben Baker goes down and starts selling his back really bad. You could tell something went south. And I'm in the crowd with V, and we're like, what is going on here? Every time the ring moves, he's he's just selling this back like it's the damnedest thing in the world. So then Decap just starts wrestling Survivor around Brutal Ben Baker, laying in the middle of the ring. And I don't know what's going on. The show gets over. They take part of the cage down, get him out of the ring. Come to find out what happened was he was afraid that there was a receipt coming his way from him kicking someone in the head. You know this someone. And you know this entire, you know the people that were alleged to do this.
Right.
And he was afraid that he was going to get beat up backstage. So in order to protect himself from a beatdown, he faked a back injury so that he wouldn't get beat up. This is Shindie Wrestling. This is what I'm talking about. This is why Shindie Wrestling is the greatest goddamn thing I've ever seen in my entire life. Because you're not going to see that on a reputable company.
No,
you're not. Where the promoter is the special guest referee for the match and then just starts wrestling the guy because the other guy's faking his back being broken. Jesus, it's great. I promise after we tell these two stories, we will get off of ICW because we're not just, but because there's other aspects that I want to talk about, but it's just a plethora of stories.
Okay, so my brutal bitten story is Decap. So at the end, he used to do it where at the end of the night, Decap would do his main event and then he'd say, okay, we're going to do a death match. So if you don't want to see that, go ahead and leave now. And he kind of gave fans an opportunity to leave so they didn't have to watch the death match. So the death matches were not good. It was always Ben Baker was always in them. And Decap went to him one day and said, hey, brother, tonight's the last death match we're doing. So he does the match, and after it's over, Brutal Ben grabs the microphone and he's like, they told me we're not doing any more death matches here, but I know you fans love when Brutal Ben comes out here and does death matches. So I need you to let them know you want to see Brutal Ben do death matches.
He hijacked the show.
Hang on. And the crowd just goes mild. They don't care. So he goes out in the crowd with the microphone and he starts interviewing fans going, don't you want to see Brutal Ben do death matches? And the general reaction is,
Maybe.
I guess. He asked one of the workers who's sitting in the crowd, he goes, hey, you love my death matches, don't you? And the guy goes, I guess so.
Do I know this worker?
No.
Okay.
His name was Little Country. I don't know.
No, I don't know him.
He was like 85 pounds and wearing a John Deere t-shirt and blue jeans.
Hell yeah.
As gear.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, he starts asking like everyone, like, hey, don't you want to see Brutal Ben do this? And everyone has got the most mild, I mean, since you're asking, I guess so, reactions ever. And he's like, see, they want me. They want it. They want it, Decap. Decap's like, yeah, we'll talk about it in the back. And then immediately stop booking him.
Oh, that's great. That is fucking awesome. So when you say death match, do you mean death match in the traditional sense, or was it just a hardcore match?
I mean, tacks and light tubes and thumbtacks.
Hell yes. Hell
every
yes.
single time.
Are there any of these death matches on YouTube? I'm sure there are.
I mean, maybe, but like literally they would run the show and then when the show was over, they would do the death match.
It was like a bonus disc or something.
100%. Like
how many people would get up and leave when they would make the announcement it's time for the death match?
Pretty much every family. So then it was like a couple of old timers and some adult fans, and that's it.
Great.
Because their kid, they don't want their kids watching that crap.
I fucking love that. So I'm going to tell my rock and roll rebel story, and then we're going to hear a word from our sponsors. So this was, of course, ICW. And I promise, I'm not going to promise that we're not going to come back to ICW, but we're going to talk a little bit about ICW and focus on other things about Shindies. There's this old timer, this old fucking brother named Rock and Roll Rebel. And his claim was that he was an enhancement talent.
For WCW.
For WCW. I couldn't remember if it was WCW or what.
Oh, I remember it was WCW.
So, and by the way, if you have any good Rebel stories, feel free to tell me when I'm done with this. So it's me, Blake Reed, and Jason Levi. We had a double shot. We figured, you know what? We were doing a Relay for Life show. Oh. And it didn't start until like 10, 11 o'clock. So we're like, fuck it. Let's go work ICW. Levi will work Blake Reed, and then I'll manage Blake Reed. We'll just hop in the car, boom, and then we'll go. Because fuck it. Why not?
Right. Why not?
So we get to the show, and one thing you need to understand about Decap is that, and here's another aspect of a Shindy. If a promoter does not pay you, 9 times out of 10, it's a Shindy.
Oh, so we'll get to that.
Yeah, we'll break that down later. So Decap is going around before the show even starts, and he's handing out envelopes. Now, in wrestling, when an envelope is handed to you, that means it's your PO, brother. That means it's that payday.
Yep.
So I get this, and I'm like, fuck. Oh, okay. Like, even if it's $5, I mean, it's like that's a snack on the way to the next booking. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I open it up, and it's a typed out letter thanking the boys for being on the show. And he has a list of dates coming up. And at the bottom, it says something to the effect of, see Dustin if you want to get committed to these shows. So I'm just perplexed. By the way, I am wearing a dinosaur kigurumi because it's a fuck off show. Who cares? Right. I'm going to come out as Dickie-saurus Rex.
Right. Who cares?
So he goes around and he's brothering everybody, and he's like, brother, you know, I'm gonna need you for these shows. You know, I'm gonna need you for these shows. Kid, you got a good look. He said this to me. Kid, you got a good look. I think we could run with this and really make something happen. So meanwhile, you just see Rebel just sitting back, just stewing.
Right.
So Decap leaves the locker room, and Rebel walks to the middle of the locker room, and he goes, all right, now I know all of you just talked to Dustin Decap about working his shows. Well, you know he ain't gonna pay you. You know these shows are probably gonna get canceled. Y'all need to come work for me. You know I'll pay you. You know I'm good for it. You know the crowds I draw. And he looks at some brother to get like, he's like, you've been on my shows. You know what I draw. I draw more than what this place fucking draws. Now, brother, me, what the fuck are you wearing?
That's fucking incredible.
So that's my Rock and Roll Rebel story. I don't really remember where it went from, but it's just so funny to me that he waits for the promoter to leave the locker room
to start talking smack.
Starts burying him to everyone. So fucking funny. God damn, dude. This shit just writes it. These are true stories, by the way. Like,
that's what makes it amazing.
Not making this shit up. But
so I have a Shindie story that I know you have never heard.
Oh, well, I say we hear it after we hear a word from our sponsor. This episode is brought to you by patreon.com/MadBash Studios. If you head on over to patreon.com/MadBash Studios, you are helping fund the definition of independent. Hundreds of hours of content starting at just $5 a month. You are going to get early, ad-free access to everything that MadBash Studios has to offer, on top of exclusive shows starting at just $5 a month. That's less than a cup of coffee a month. You can go on over to patreon.com/MadBash Studios and you can support the dream of being unapologetically creative. This episode is brought to you by Venom Energy. Hey, we've all been there, and there's nothing wrong with admitting to it. Well, what I mean is that we've all hit that midday slump, and we all need a little push to get us through the rest of the day. Well, what better option to give you a pick-me-up than one of the wonderful flavors of Venom Energy? Venom is what gets MadBash through those long show days, and we know that it can do the same for you. I'm going to sweeten the pot a little bit for you, too. Yeah. Come to our merch table when you see us at a show, and with the purchase of a MadBash Wrestling sticker or magnet, you get a Venom Energy drink on us. While supplies last, of course, so you better act quick. We'd like to thank Venom again for sponsoring this episode. Please consume responsibly. Not recommended for children under 18, pregnant or nursing women, or people sensitive to caffeine. So when we last left you, before the minute of ads, Kid Riot told me that he has a story for me that I've never heard. And this is what I was looking the most forward to, because that was the one drawback to this, is that I was like, fuck, me and Riot, like, we know all these stories already. We've already told them. So the fact that you are coming to me with one that I've never heard, that makes me ungodly happy. So please, sir, the floor is yours.
Okay, so here's this story. So we will call this promoter the art teacher, because he has passed on, and I know his kids are still in the business, and I don't want to bury him.
Yeah.
But he looked like a art teacher that you would have in junior high. Like he literally looked like Timo Bob Ross.
Do I know this person?
You do not.
Okay.
He would have been in the St. Louis area.
Don't know him then.
Yeah. So he had booked me and another brother to come down and work a show. And we got down there, and he's like, "You guys are going to be the opening tag match." And we're like, "Okay, cool, whatever."
What? When was this?
2008, 2009.
Oh wow. Okay, that's why I was asking, because this is a long time ago.
Oh yeah, this is forever ago. But there is a punchline to the end of the story. But anyways, so he's like, "You guys are going to work the opening tag match," and I'm like, "All right, cool, brother. Like, whatever you want to do." Now, mind you, I was trying out a new gimmick, so I had a different mask and I had a full bodysuit. So
yeah.
I'm completely covered. And we plan none of this match except for the finish. One of the guys in the ring is probably 137 years old, wearing a tie-dye t-shirt and blue jeans.
Sign of a shindy. There's always an old brother with jeans and a tie-dye shirt.
And his partner is a guy in camo singlet, camo long tights, and a black mask. And I'm like, "Hey, brother, what's your gimmick? Blah blah blah." And he goes, "I'm just doing this because I'm hoping that you let me use my real gimmick on the later in the show." So you're doing your crap gimmick for the opening match because you want to work somebody else in your real gimmick later. Pretty much, brother. Pretty much. So you already get a vibe of how this match is going to go, right?
Oh, I love it.
So the only spot we have planned in the entire match is hot tag, clothesline. I'm taking the brothers comeback because I'm heel. It's clothesline, sharpshooter. There we go. I had to let that sit for a second so you could just ponder that.
What? And this is the comeback?
Yeah, this is the comeback, baby. This is a hot tag comeback.
Oh, this is the hot tag.
Well, I mean, he's coming in the hot tag. He's going to give me a clothesline, and then he's going to sweep my leg and put me into sharpshooter.
I'm trying to figure out the mechanics of this, of how that even begins to make sense.
So clothesline puts me in a sharpshooter. Now, everyone knows what a sharpshooter is. I'm laying on my stomach. Brother's got my legs to grapevine, and he's sitting on my lower back, right? We all know that, right?
Yep.
And all of a sudden, from the referee, I hear 1, 2, and I physically throw this man off my back because I realize the referee's counting my shoulders on the ground, except for I'm laying on my stomach, not my back.
Wow.
Oh no, we're not done. So he turns to him and he goes, "Brother, what are you doing?" He goes, "His shoulders were down." So we hobble through the rest of the match. And I get in the back and I'm talking to the art teacher and I'm like, "Hey, brother, like, how new is your referee? Because he tried to count my shoulders down on a submission." He's like, "Well, that was the first match he'd ever refereed." And I was like, "Okay, well," I said, "Okay, well, where did he train to referee?" "Well,
never trained.
Well, we showed him some stuff before the doors opened today." So this is early in my career.
That.
Yeah, so this is early in my career, and I want to make a good impression. I go, "Well, if you have an extra ref shirt, my whole body was covered up in my bodysuit. I'll ref a couple matches for you to help you out." And he goes, "Oh, brother, oh, that'd be life saving. That'd be epic." So I throw a ref shirt on, and I end up reffing like 3 matches in a row. And I'm like, man, I did what he asked me in the tag match. I jumped up and helped with this. I was like, he knows he's got to keep me around and book me definitely.
Wow.
So end of the night rolls around and I'm doing the handshakes and I'm trying to, nudge, nudge, brother, can I get my money? And he goes, hey man, you really helped
Hey
me out
man.
tonight. Yeah. Hey man, you really helped me out tonight. And I appreciate you greatly. And I really do appreciate everything you did. Thank you. And I'm like, hey, no problem. And before I can finish saying the word problem, he's turned around and walked away.
That is perfect. That is exactly what they do. There's more. Oh my God, I can't take this anymore.
Fast forward to 2 years ago. So nearly 12 years later, I'm on a show and I look over at the commentary booth and there's the art teacher commentating. And I'm like, I'm heel tonight and I do not care. So I grab the microphone and I say, hey, the guy's real name. You still owe me money from reffing because your referee was stupid. And he thinks I'm like working him. Brother, I'm not working. I want my money still. He's like, oh, yeah, I got you after the show. And I said, just to be clear, this is still on the microphone in front of
From 12 years ago, I got you, brother.
This is in front of the crowd in giant parentheses because there was like 8 people. And I said, brother, you think I'm working you? I'm not. I'm for real. I'm coming to get that money as soon as I get out of this ring. Believe you me, I got out of the ring. I went to the back. I changed. I went to come up and find him. Brother was gone.
Oh my God. Now let me just, because some people might look at that and be like, that's a little unprofessional for Kid Riot to go into business for himself. That's the beauty of a Shindie. You can do that stuff and there's like no repercussions because it's like, you understand no one's taking this seriously. So fuck it. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to say my shit.
Well, and I mean, I looked at it. There was 8 fans. So if
yeah, I mean, like at that point, it's like, so what? The video is, if there's people filming it, then people, might go online and be like,
right.
do you see what this fucking wrestler did to this promoter? And it's like, no, like that's the beauty of a Shindie, is that when you see something like that happen, if you are not in the business, you don't understand the beauty of something like that happening and how funny it is. Like that's where I find the comedy in it.
Oh yeah. And if in the ultra unlikely event that the son of the art teacher who is still running shows sees this, I'd like my $25.
No interest either. There's been
No, just give me the straight 25 and we'll call it a day.
Hell yeah. So we're probably doing this a little bit backwards. We probably should have done this first, but this is just something I'm thinking of. I don't know if I even have an answer to this, so that's why I'm kind of throwing it to you.
Okay.
What draws you to being so invested in watching Shindie Wrestling and getting a good laugh out of it? Because there are times where Madrox and I, that's what started MadBash, was we just put on a Shindependent wrestling show and we watched it. And then there's people like Shank Barzini, who flat out has told me, Dickie, don't put on bad wrestling. It pisses me off. I can't watch it. What do you think it is about me and you specifically that it makes it okay that we're like, yeah, we're watching this and we're not, we know what it is?
So I can answer that very easily. And then you're going to immediately be mad that I came up with this answer that easily. You ready?
Yes.
Do you look away when you see a car accident?
That's kind of what I was thinking though. So I'm not, because my theory on it is like, how are you with cringe humor? Do you like cringe humor? Like, do you like, you get that, you like the douche chills and you're just like, ugh. Like, I love cringe. So I think that's why I love it.
See, I'm not a big cringe guy. Like I'm sorry. The Office was not funny to me at all, but I love a good train wreck. And if you need proof of that, look at every relationship I've ever been in my entire life.
Oh boy.
Not that I just got left at the altar a month ago or anything.
No grievances to be aired here.
Yeah, no,
Just hypothetically.
hypothetically.
Yeah, I think it's like a car crash. Like
Yeah,
Opie
absolutely.
and Anthony, who are huge influences on me and the way that I handle myself, like with broadcasting and stuff. O&A back in the day used to do this thing called car crash comedy, where they would bring on bad comedians, and the best worst one, they would choose to go on tour with them when they would do their traveling virus comedy tour. And they were using A-list comedians like Rich Voss, Colin Quinn, Bill Burr, Patrice O'Neill, Louis C.K., people like that, like top of Jim Norton, top level people. But they did this car crash comedy, and they were like, let's just bring on one guy, you know what I mean? And I think that that's part of it, is that the human mind, I think, knows that we should not like this. We should not look at that car wreck. But there is something about it deep down that makes us look at it.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's what you do with it.
Yeah, absolutely. And like it's good for a laugh. Especially when you look at how crazy everything is. Like sometimes you just need a good laugh at something so stupid it's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think like one of the things that is so great about it is that you got to look at it and you really need to wonder, like, do these people, do they truly think that they're about to get the call from the Fed? Or do they know that what they're doing, it's kind of like, this is a little hobby? Because there's nothing wrong with being a 40-miler journeyman that just does this on the weekends. There's nothing wrong with that, because that's you and I. I mean, I'm not a 40-miler, granted, but I mean, like, I only do this on the weekends. This isn't my full-time job. So there's nothing wrong with treating this as a hobby necessarily. But there are people that are in it that are like, yeah, we're going to fucking make it. And you got to wonder, it's like, this grizzled brother who has been doing this 30 years. He's like mid 50s, and he's warming up backstage, and he's like, I got one bump in me, kid. Like, why is that person still doing it? Like, why do they actually think that they're going to make it? Like, is there delusion? Kid Riot, comment.
I think it's the local hero mentality of, they've been coming to this venue and watching me for 25 years, and I plan to make them proud tonight. It's that I'm a local celebrity is what I really feel it is. It's that local celebrity mentality of, brother, I was famous then, and I'm going to be famous now, and everyone in this town is going to know me when I walk down the street. That's it. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah. And I think in the case of one promoter specifically, we're going there, and anyone who wants to know who this promoter is, we have openly talked about who this person is on Paid Show. They are, I'm going to say again, allegedly, a very terrible human being. I don't want to associate with them in any way, but they just keep trying. They keep trying to come back into wrestling, and Kid Riot knows who I'm talking about. But
I do.
I found some of this person's stuff on YouTube, and I think it's exactly what you just said, but I also think that there's like a massive delusion to it as well, because like I was watching this guy's show, and they're in a barn, and which I want you to tell the story of you working for said person, because it's the fucking best. Because it feels like a fever dream. This story that you have is a fever dream, and it's not real. I'm convinced the video that you sent to me is AI generated. So, this guy comes out, and he's in his suit, quotations that he clearly only spent $20 on, but he's the cock of the walk, and he's got the championship on his shoulder, and he's out there, and it's in his mind, it's the greatest thing in the world. He's doing it strictly to stroke his ego, because how else is he going to get that fucking adrenaline rush? It's like one of those of where it's like, yeah, I want to be in the world of independent wrestling, but nobody's using me. So I'm just going to create my own environment where I can go on a power trip and I can feel like I'm important.
And that's one of the things I said, when we just started to describe a Shindie, I explained that exact situation.
Yeah. It all comes full circle because I knew that that's where we were going to end up. It's one of those where you look at it and you're like, if I am ever that delusional, please just head shoot me. Please just end it. I don't want to be alive anymore if I am that delusional. Sometimes we need to live in our delusions, but sometimes there's just a part where it's like, brother, you're coming out here like this is this big deal that you're introducing this heel faction that's going to take over your company and you're the leader and blah, 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 blah. And you're doing it to nobody.
Right.
You're doing it to an audience of one.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or sometimes three, an audience of three. We call that a segue.
Okay.
Kid Riot, please.
You ready for this?
This is the greatest story. And then I have a good story to end it with.
So I got a phone call and they said, hey, how would you feel about teaming with Rhino? Now, I'm a big ECW mark. I always have been. So teaming with Rhino? Absolutely. Against who, you might ask? Former X Division champion and former TNA Tag Champion Jake Crist. Love Jake Crist, by the way. Absolutely love for him. And his protege, 747, this very large gentleman. Absolutely. I get to work with Jake and I get to team with Rhino? Absolutely. So we planned it out and we start, promoting the show. And then the venue it turns out that he can't use the venue that he was originally planning to use because they wanted money. And I know that's shocking.
I know. Yeah. They want this thing called money. This same guy, just so everyone can paint a picture, this is the guy that Madrox and I buried that almost got us into the bit. Like we came back in the business and almost worked with this guy. This is the same guy that was booking us as he was in the ambulance on his way to the hospital for congestive heart failure.
I love that. So he messages another promoter and says, hey, can I use your training facility to run my show? I've already, got stuff organized. And the guy says, well, there's no heat in there and it's the middle of December. So you can use it, but you can't have fans in there legally because there's it's freezing in the building. And he's like, I don't care. I have to have the show. I have to run the show. So he sets up the ring. He sets up the guardrails. He sets up chairs.
Because the reason, sorry to interrupt here, but I have to run the show. I have to run the show so that I can say I booked Rhino.
Exactly. So I get to the show and I find out that one, it's freezing in the building, and two, no fans are going to be there. Zero. And the only fans that are in the crowd are three of his family members. So it's like his uncle and his uncle's two kids, and that's the entire crowd. And you watched this match recently. Am I lying about the number of people in the crowd?
No, there was another group of people, but they could not be bothered by what was going on in the ring. They were sitting in lawn chairs and just on their phones.
I'm pretty sure that some of those were people working said show.
Oh, well, then there you go.
I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it was because I'm pretty sure I know who one of them was, but I don't want to name
either way.
Anywho, so we start planning this match, this epic encounter between me and Rhino and Jake and 747. And obviously, Rhino, big TV star, just got off didn't we just figure out that it was right after his Heath Slater tag team title run?
I don't know if it was right after, but it was after for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So fairly shortly after that, regardless. So Rhino just, former TNA heavyweight champ or former NWA heavyweight champion, former ECW champion, multiple time WWF or slash WWE champions throughout time.
Yeah.
And he looks at me and he goes, "Hey, brother, I'll take heat." I'm sorry. I'm like nobody. You're Rhino. Why are you going to take the beating?
Yeah. Because
And I thought,
typically if a name comes in for a tag match, they just ride the apron
yeah, they
and
ride
come
the
in for the
apron.
hot tag.
They do their moves of doom, and we call it a day. Easy peasy.
That's what Trevor Murdoch did when
Well,
I worked with him.
that's what Mr. Hughes did. I'll tell that story. So I'm like, okay. And for the longest time, I couldn't figure out why. And then actually, me and you were discussing, and I said, I'm pretty sure he thought to himself, if I take the heat, I can make this match go real quick, and we can get the hell out of here. And you know what? He was absolutely correct because we went not very long, and we did very little, and it was very much because he was over it.
Yeah, but he got his money.
Well, 100% did.
Yeah.
And then
Did you get
said
your money?
promoter said, "Huh?
Did you get your money?
No.
Figured.
Wait, I got half of it. I'm sorry. I did get half of it.
Brother, you just got to work with Rhino. I don't need to pay you.
Mind you, that same promoter came to me a few weeks later and said, "Hey, if I bring in Charlie Haas, would you want to work him?" I said, "Absolutely." He goes, "I need $700." Well, that ain't happening.
Oh, then no, we're good.
He's like, "Hey, if I bring in Judas Macias, aka El Macias, from AAA, would you want to work him?" "Absolutely." "Well, I need $400." "Can't do it." "Oh, well, I can't have you booked."
Jesus. And did he ever bring these people in? Probably not.
No, because I wouldn't help pay for him.
Okay, fair. I didn't know if he shystered somebody else into it.
Oh, no. He tried.
So there's two things that are fascinating to me about this. Is the first one, this is a quick answer. How many matches were on that card?
6 or 7.
Okay, so it was a legit show.
Yeah.
Legit. Why would Rhino just not say, "I'm leaving"? Like, this is ridiculous to me right now.
Well, have you ever actually honestly met Rhino?
Yeah, that's true. He's kind of a laid back guy.
And he is very humble and incredibly respectful.
Dude, I talked politics with him for like an hour. Like, I say politics, but it was just more of like social stuff.
Right.
He's a very smart guy.
Oh, he's incredibly intelligent. And he is actually a little behind the curtain here is as I approach 2 years sober, being sober, he is actually a great influence on sobriety for me.
Yeah.
So Rhino's just a genuine good guy. So I'm sure that if he agreed to something, he was going to do it as long as he could do it safely. And, he knew working with Jake and 747, he would be safe. And if he watched the match, he's not bumping his backside off for them.
No,
Nor are they asking him to.
Yeah. I think that, the show of this same promoter that I found, that was very funny to me is the ring is just in this fucking random barn and there's a big wet spot in the middle of the ring because condensation had been dripping. If you want, I will send you this entire show because it's really funny.
Please.
So I will wrap up with this story, and then I'm sure that we will mention some more Shindie stuff as we roll into Paid Show here for those of you on the Patreon. Maybe on Paid Show we'll actually drop some names. So my story, and have you heard my Wisconsin story?
No.
You've never heard this? Wow. Okay. So it was me, Jason V, Jimmy Carrot, Cecil Cerveza, and may he rest in peace, Benjamin Conrad. Miss that guy.
Okay.
Conrad drove the entire way, for the record. Hell of a guy. One of the coolest guys I've ever met. Miss that guy. So we went essentially, I don't remember the name of the town. I used to be able to remember it because it's a really weird name. It was essentially the Minnesota-Wisconsin border, but we were in Wisconsin. It was probably
Time out.
Yes.
Really quickly. Did the promoter, are you going to name drop the promoter?
I don't even know the promoter's name.
Okay.
I remember the company.
What was the name of the company?
Minnesota Extreme Wrestling.
Okay. Maybe it's not the one I'm thinking of. Go ahead. Please continue.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So Jason V was the one that orchestrated the whole thing. So he got a carload rate. I think it was where we each ended up with like, I don't even remember the exact rate. Doesn't matter. But we all got some okay money. We get to the show and it's in kind of like a VFW bar gimmick. It's not bad. It's not a nice little venue for a little show. The curtain, the tarp for the locker room that you so graciously needed to mention was about 6 feet tall. There was a brother on this show that was pushing 7 feet tall and wore a hood. So he's walking around backstage without his hood on and people can just straight up see him. So we get there. We meet the promoter, shaking hands, all that. V asks him, so what are you thinking tonight? What's the draw going to be? And the promoter says 300 easy. 300 easy. I hit promoting hot and heavy here. I usually draw pretty well. So about 30 minutes goes by. We're all just hanging out. Yeah, we're probably going to be getting, I'd say about 200 here tonight. That's probably going to be what the draw is. I would say it's the same promoter, same guy. So then we're just kind of standing talking to him maybe an hour later because we got there a little early. Just standing there shooting the shit. He goes, I don't see why we would have less than 150 here.
Oh my God.
Jason V looks at him and goes, brother, every time I've talked to you, you have lowered what you think the draw is going to be tonight. And he goes, well, I just like to be optimistic, I think is what he said. So that's pretty much the story. There's really not much more to it. Conservatively, there were 30 people in that crowd. And they just ended up working each other. Jason V tells the notorious story of he drove all the way to Iowa and was like, why am I going to drive to Iowa and wrestle Cecil Cerveza? I can wrestle Cecil Cerveza in Danville. Walks in, sees the locker room. I'm wrestling Cecil Cerveza. It's like, it's the same concept as I'm working Kid Riot here tonight. I see this locker room. If you're going to make me work for free, I'm working Kid Riot, who I know I trust. But yeah, it was one of those things of where they didn't have a ring announcer or the ring announcer was running late. So I had to ring announce the first half of the show. Then I had to turn heel and be a heel manager for Cecil and Conrad. And that was one of those, it was the best match of the night, obviously. But it was so funny. And that was my first major experience of driving a long distance and it really not being worth it.
That's amazing.
Yeah, everybody needs to have one of those early on, I think. I think that it keeps you good and humble. But yeah, I can't believe I've not told you that story. No, I think I've definitely told it on here, I'm pretty sure. So sorry for people that are rehearing it. But yeah, man, that was definitely an experience. Meanwhile, we're on our way to the show and I see this rash on my calf and I'm like, what? I wonder what that is. And Jimmy Carrot keeps squirting it with his water bottle because he thinks it's funny. It didn't itch or anything. It was just this rash on my calf. 2 days later, I'm in convenient care because both of my legs from my knees to the tops of my ankles, because I was wearing tube socks, is infested with the worst poison ivy I've ever had in my entire life. Because that Friday before I left for the show, I weed eated and I was in shorts and tube socks and the weeds got all over my legs. It put me out of commission for probably a week and a half. broke me out in the worst poison ivy I've ever had in my entire life. For those of you that are squeamish, I sincerely apologize, but afterwards, like after things are finally like starting to kind of heal a little bit, patches of hair on my legs are missing. My skin was so ravaged from the poison ivy that I got the worst acne on my legs from it. And there were like, it was in the bins of my leg. It was miserable. Thank God that it didn't fully kick in on that car ride. I would have been
Yeah, the struggle would have been bad.
Oh, it would have been awful. But yeah, that was one of the weirdest. I've never seen a leg break out in acne until that happened to me. And I fought that for a good 2 months. I'm not even exaggerating. Like it was one of the craziest experiences. So, all right, Kid Riot, I think that's going to do it. What a hell of a discussion. I think this exceeded expectations, mostly because I got to hear a story that I'd never heard before, and you got to hear a story that you'd never heard before. But
and I love that. That.
So as we wrap up here, because we're a little over time on Spot Show, but oh well, there's really no set time here. Just give your final thoughts on Shindies, man. Like just your Jerry Springer moment where you're talking to the camera. You know what I mean?
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you find yourself on a shindy, I want you to know it's going to be okay. You're going to end up with a great story out of it. A story that's going to make some people really uncomfortable and a lot of people question your sanity. But in the end, we all love a good train wreck. And if nothing else, shindies are forever train wrecks.
I agree. It's definitely the definition of life is about the journey, not the destination. And
100%.
That's what makes shindies so great. Listen, if you've ever been on a shindy or even went to a shindy, that's something that I want to break down is like the fan mentality, because I'm sure people are like, why would people put up with this? And we'll get into that on Paid Show a little bit, I'm sure. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and wrap up here. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. Thank you for bearing with us as we're going through this weird transitional period with MadBash Studios, with Spot Show, with other stuff that we're doing. There's going to be some really cool content coming down the pipeline. One of those Kid Riot has heard, and he knows it's coming down the pipeline, and he likes it. And I'm just going to say this. It's not wrestling related. It's something completely different, but I'm going to give a little bit of a teaser to something that is coming down the pipeline that is wrestling related, and it is in honor of this episode. Kid Riot and I have talked about it, and we're going to do it. So I have a full ICW show that was bestowed upon me by Jason V. Kid Riot and I are going to get together probably this month and Mystery Science Theater 3000 the shit out of this show. We're going to watch it. We're going to provide our own commentary. We'll hash out those details when we get around to it, but I'm shooting. Hopefully we can have it done before Christmas. If not, it'll definitely be this year. You will get to hear that. That's going to be limited exclusivity on Patreon, and then we'll end up putting it on the YouTube, I'm sure. But yeah, so Kid Riot, go ahead and hit them with your plugs. Where can everyone find you?
You ask me this every time, and you would think at this time I would remember, but
that's why I ask. That's why I ask.
Instagram is space as in outer space. Rudo, Rudo, as in evil luchador. I always forget what my TikTok was, so I'm sorry, guys. And then
is it Riot Rudo?
Hell, I don't know. Maybe. You would think I would know this.
Not a single goddamn person that I've ever had on this show knows what their social media is. That's so funny to me.
Hang on. No, we're going to figure it out right now.
I'll do it right now.
No, I already got it. Oh, it is actually just Rudo. You're absolutely right. It is.
Okay, you cut out. What is it?
It actually is. It actually is right, Rudo. So
I knew it.
The I is a number 1. OTRUDO. That is my TikTok, and I believe my Xbox too. Not that I play Xbox with a lot of people, but yeah.
Yeah. You do PS5, right, as well?
I do have a PS5, but I don't play it very often because I usually just play Xbox. But
So I was
yeah,
gonna say we need to add each other on PS5.
we do.
Yeah, of course, me. You can find me on Instagram at DWobs Card Shop, the big plug ski. Patreon.com/MadBash Studios, MadBashStudios.com. Thank you to everyone who has supported us. We're nearing 3 years of the Spot Show podcast. It's been a hell of a journey. We've loved every single minute of it. For those of you on the Patreon, Kid Riot and I are going to roll into paid show, but for everybody else, we will see you down the road on some form of content.